Jessica, I am super excited for this opportunity to chat with you. You and I have been running around in a lot of the same circles. We've been in the same room for nearly a decade, actually over a decade. I'm convinced it's over a decade through, especially at social media marketing world.
Mhm.
And another thing that I know is that you have, let me mute the little thing going on in the background here. You have, during this entire time, created a massive community at scale with your own conference not too far from my hometown. And so I've invited you here today to talk about what you're creating in the world. And I want to learn what lessons and insights you've picked up along the way when it comes to creating community at scale. So, welcome, Jessica, for coming onto the live stream and podcast here.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. Yes, it's been over a decade now. And speaking of social media marketing world, that's where Social Media Week Lima was born. It's part of its origin story. It will always be part of its origin story. But Social Media Marketing World, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's a massive social media marketing conference that happens each year kind of around February, March timeframe, where it brings together some of the best people like Cliff that just really have a heart for serving and for storytelling and letting us marketers, digital marketers, know how to show up best in the world. And I went the very first year. I've only missed 1 year from Social Media Marketing World since it started, and was so inspired by the first year that it happened that I wanted to bring something like that back to my hometown. So that's how Social Media Week Lima got started and has grown year over year from there. I don't want to share all of it just yet, but that's kind of it's all tied together as part of the origin story of Social Media Week Lima.
I did not know that it came out of the relationships that were established there for that very first social media marketing world, but that's not surprising to me. And the only thing that I regret is that I only attended my very first ever social media Lima event or social media week Lima event
Uh-huh.
this year in 2025. But boy, am I glad that I did. And I can see how much relationship building I'm behind on with this community. It's amazing.
No, I've already heard great stories of the relationships that you formed, and there's no wrong time to jump in.
Yeah.
So definitely do so. And I'm so glad that you were here this past year. But yeah, so kind of giving you a little bit of backstory. When I went to Social Media Marketing World, it was my first time in San Diego, first and foremost. And I had started Now Marketing Group in 2010 and felt very alone in the digital marketing space, if I could say that, in a small town in Lima, Ohio. It's population like 30,000 people, and was talking and preaching social media, for small, medium-sized businesses at that time, where they were very hesitant to say, okay, social media is the way to go and where we can build relationships, because they were thinking of marketing in just a silo of, hey, if we're marketing, we're just push messaging, a bullhorn, as I like to say, versus becoming a magnet. And I was looking at social media as a way of being a magnet and drawing these relationships into you of the people that you're already serving, the community members that you want to build relationships with, and even your team, right? Like highlighting your team and showing how much you care for them. So when I seen that Social Media Examiner was hosting Social Media Marketing World, I was like, you know what? I want to go. I want to meet other people like me and hopefully get replenished and revived and feel like I'm not alone. And it did just that. So when I went there, I met others like me that I did not feel alone. And so Social Media Week Lima, after leaving that event, I was like, I need something like this for my hometown. And I put it on within 2 weeks of leaving that conference at Social Media Marketing World and invited other marketers to just give back to the community. I wanted something that was affordable, something that was relatable, and something where we could have, just impact of other people that really cared and wanted to help a maker of, makers, a community of makers, be able to show up and be their authentic selves and do so on a budget because these small, medium-sized businesses didn't have a lot to spend. And it was either like, hey, I drop a ton of dollars on ads, or I can build something that's sustainable and can grow with me over time that I don't have to, just keep dropping money in the bucket in order to, show up and advertise my business. I could build relationships with our community and with our clients. And so that's what we did. And then it's just grown over there. We hosted the first one in our office, and it was like maybe 30 people that was there. And now we've grown to 350, 400 plus people that come to this event now each and every year.
I love that. So when you say I hosted my first event 2 weeks after I got back, what was the initial planning like? What was your vision for that? Who did you invite? And what surprised you the most hosting that very first social media week, Lima?
I was so energized. I think my team thought I was crazy um, after coming back, but I was like, we're going to plan this as a whole week, social media week, Lima. And we are going to make each day kind of inspired to do things within the community and to show up on social media. I went to the mayor's office first and foremost and got the proclamation for social media week, Lima. And then ended up hosting different events throughout the week. So now it's only 2 days, but we still celebrate the whole week. But now it's only 2 days where we host the conference. But when I came back to the office, I was like, hey, I want to invite the news, the other digital marketing companies that are in our area to talk and share their expertise, the TV, anyone that I could think of in our area that's trying to help small, medium-sized businesses stand out and know what's to come in the world of marketing so they can be successful, so our community is successful, they can still retain their team members and get them excited about what they're doing. And so I invited the whole community at that time to do things. And we did things like the very first year, not only did we have a 5K, and then we hosted to give back to charity. So we hosted that, and then also some training sessions, but a lot of community fun along the way.
What did you find the most surprising, the most shocking? Whether it became an obstacle or hurdle that you had to overcome, or absolutely unanticipated support and encouragement from somebody that you like, I can't believe they pulled out all the stops to help us this way.
I would say so. Let me start with the positive.
Okay, let's do that.
That pulled out all the support to help us in the most positive way. I would say some of the bigger brands too, that they're like, hey, I cannot believe that you're doing this in Lima. And so many of the speakers that have come to the event that typically get paid 5,000, plus to speak on stages, they come to Lima now to speak on the stage. They're not paid. The airport's like an hour and a half, the closest airport to us to travel in. Yes, we provide transportation for them to get into it, but to just be part of this community is amazing how many speakers that we get that show up year after year and say, hey, I want to speak at your event because I believe in your mission. I believe in the vision, and I am so excited to reconnect with so many people that I've got to build a rapport for and with, and they've stayed friends all year long because we have like a group online for Social Media Week Lima, and it's active all year round. And all of the attendees, speakers, sponsors, everyone is just in this community of believers to, like my sign says behind me. I don't think you can see it here, but love more, give more, and be more,
Yeah.
because that's my personal mission. And there are people that also believe the same things. I'd say the thing that has surprised me the most is sometimes people think when you're in a small community and you're from that small community that you have to go outside of your own community to get something worthwhile. So they're
Mm.
like, maybe I need to go to some of these bigger events in order to get something that I have not already heard or that's going to be helpful for me. So maybe I need to spend more. And so something that I'm building for our community that is bringing all those great things into our community. Sometimes it's hard to explain that to someone that thinks that they need to spend more to get more and go outside their own community.
Yeah, so it's that whole profit is never accepted in their own
I was
hometown
going to
kind of
use
thing.
that, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
yep,
was
I
going
love
to
it.
use that, but I'm glad you did.
So
Mhm.
let me ask you, some of the speakers, did you invite some of the speakers that you met and had connected with at Social Media Marketing World to come and be a part of this? And was that the beginning of what I've witnessed with seeing these speakers kind of commune around what you've built?
Yeah, yes and no. So the very first year I invited, as I mentioned, like some of the local marketers that
Okay.
were around the area and had them come. And then I've built relationships with a lot of the speakers because we've spoken on the same stages and we built relationships, but I didn't want to just drop into their DMs and immediately ask them to come speak. But they were witness of what was being held and hosted for Social Media Week Lima and actually reached out to me and I said yes. So I would love to have you on stage. Um, and so it's kind of a yes and I didn't ask them right away. I waited until we had a good rapport first, and then they would ask me more about Social Media Week Lima, and then I was like, "Well, we'd love to have you speak. Here's kind of what we're doing, though, again, because we're not paying our speakers." But they were like, "No, we would love to be part of this." And then we've had applications come in. I mean, we have hundreds of them come in each and every year now to speak. And then I talk to each of them personally. Some people, it's their very first time on stage. They've never been given that opportunity. Like Chad Peterson, he's our MC, but the very first time that he was on stage was in Lima. There's
Hmm.
so many others like that. Bella Vasta, it was her very first time on stage, and now, they're international speakers, which is awesome. But it's really getting to know the heart of the person first, and then inviting them to speak in Lima.
That's amazing. I want to share with you, Jessica, my own like feeling, the my own perception of how things, what I've seen. So the when you first started Social Media Week Lima, I remember hearing about it from my friend Eric Fisher. He and I were co-hosting a podcast called Social Media Serenity at the time, and so we were talking a lot about social media stuff. And that podcast had a lot of people from your community who were
Hmm.
listening, and they like, "Hey, Cliff, you live in the Cincinnati area. Are you coming to Social Media Week Lima?" And I'm like, "Tell me more about this event." And at the time, I knew of you. I didn't know you. And I'm like, I've not been invited. I don't know this community. And I, quite frankly, at the time, I was a bit more of an introvert, and and didn't feel comfortable going out and meeting people when I don't know who they are. Going up, I've changed a lot since then. I've had a lot of personal and professional growth and development over the years. But I'm like, "Ah, man, if I'm not speaking, I don't know that I'll come away with any real relationships, because I'm the guy who's gonna just sit and be quiet and to myself." Not so much like that anymore, as you know. But
Hmm.
that's who I was back then. And so each year that it went on, it felt more and more awkward for me to finally make the decision to show up. It's like, "Cliff, why are you here after all this time? Where have you been? Why are you here now?" And the other thing that I'll share with you is, there in social media marketing world, as you said, this conference has been going on for over a decade, and it is a massive event. There have been years where there were like 4, 5, 6,000 people at social media marketing world. And there are also many stages, many speakers. And just like you, I had spoken at least 7 or 8 years of the Social Media Marketing World Conference. And it used to be broken up to different tracks. And you were in the digital marketing track. And I did not identify, if you will, as a digital marketer. I identified as a content creator and the self-employed business. Let's put out content. It's like I'm a podcaster, and there was actually a podcasting track. So for me, obviously, given my relational paralysis, if you will, I chose to surround myself from all of the speakers in the content creator track. And yet I'm in the same room, and you and I have chatted over the years.
Mhm.
But it just definitely, there wasn't this like resonant
Mhm.
click or whatever, for, and probably mostly on my part, because one of the things I have witnessed about you, Jessica, is you are such an outgoing, relational person. I love how you show up in a room and just make people feel comfortable. And that is what actually finally brought me into your world. I had shown up in the social media marketing world Facebook group. I put out a very generous offer that if anybody wants to have a 90-minute conversation with me, this is real, deep, meaningful conversation, move the needle forward kind of conversation. If you're interested in that level, we will meet for
Mhm.
90 minutes at Social Media Marketing World. And then you reached out and says, Cliff, I'd like to invite you to my pre-party that
Mhm.
I'm hosting.
Mhm.
And of course, this is your party that you're hosting with basically the people who have this community. I
Mhm.
don't know why my phone is continuing to snooze. I apologize. But
All
I'm
good.
sitting, but you invite me to this party, and I'm like, okay, do I go to this party? Because this entire party is going to be that community that they know. Many of them know of me. Some of them may know me, but I don't know any of them really. And it's like, but no, I'm going to go. Jessica invited me. Oh my gosh. I had the best time at your pre party.
Mhm.
Just the welcoming spirit, and just the number of people who came up and people who didn't know me. It was
Mhm.
just so pleasing to be in here. Everybody who knew each other, obviously. And I'm like, they're like, oh, this is Cliff Ravenscraft. Here's what I just learned about him. You should ask him this, blah, blah, blah. And I walked away from that pre networking party with about 15 people that I now have a really good relationship with today. And that's what actually drew. It's like I was looking at Social Media Week Lima. I was looking at the speaker lineup. I'm like, well, gosh, 8 of those 15 people are going to be in Lima. And that's only like a
Uh-huh.
2.5 hour drive. Of course, I'm going to buy myself a ticket and come out there. So that's my side of the story. I don't know how much of that you even knew, or is
I
any of it
didn't,
shocking to
but
you?
I am not shocked at all because I get a vibe for people, right? Like I want to learn about people, and a lot of them are introverts. They would share probably the same thing that you just shared and say, I'm not really comfortable, being outgoing and introducing myself and connecting with people. I'll stay in the safe zone, if you will. But the heart of people that truly care, like you just offered to do a 90-minute deep dive, I was like, yep, my kind of people. I did the same thing, social media marketing world, how it was built even before, to kind of give you even more of a little backstory. I met people that I wanted to connect with on the deeper level, so I started hosting s'mores nights
Hmm.
on the fourth floor of the Hyatt and would invite people like you and others that truly cared and was like, you know what? I'm going to bring this community together because I think we could have this momentum shift and what it means to be marketers that are the least trusted, people in the world is marketers at this point. But if we are heart-centered and truly do care and we can outcare the competition, if we all come together and collaborate and co-create together, I think something could really happen that makes this shift that can really truly help serve the communities that we're working with. So I host a pre-party now, and still do this more nights when I can. But host a pre-party before social media marketing world happens, and just bring some of the best people that I've connected with together to just have conversation and connection. And then from there, see what happens, introduce them to the Social Media Week Lima community, and then keep that momentum growing and going throughout the year, to just keep people together that are, I like to call it the good vibe tribe. But
I
yeah.
love that. I love it. And they are a good vibe. I will tell you that I had a blast in Lima, Ohio. It was an incredible experience. I want to talk to you about your Social Media Week Lima Olympics. How
I
did
knew
this
that was
get
coming.
started?
So, as all good things do, it was a random night. We were outside, um, coming back from the VIP dinner, and just was chatting outside. And I think one person was talking about, I think it was Katie Brinkley. She was talking about how to properly do a shoe kick because it was time to take off your shoes. It was nighttime. We were getting ready to go to bed. And so it was a full-on training experience of doing the longest shoe kick. And I was like, oh, it's like the Lima Olympics, because the Olympics was going on. And so it included shoe kicking, cartwheels, three-legged races, and then we are like everybody heard us like laughing outside so hard, just an organic moment that was happening amongst friends. More people kept joining as they heard us, but outside. And then last year, or this past year I should say, we made it official, so there were awards given and more people joining in. I think we had what was it, the strut, where you walk down, and the catwalk. That's what it was. I'm pretty sure Tyrone won that one. But yeah, so it's just great moments amongst friends that does not have to be planned, but it's just good times with good people.
Yeah, it was such an awesome experience just to witness it. I was not participating in the Olympics. It looked too dangerous for my blood. But I will say it was fun to watch, and it was fun more than anything just to see the amount of enjoyment. If I'll tell you what it reminded me of. The after VIB party there in the parking lot of the hotel with this Olympics going on, it gave me the vibes of when I was a kid living in the neighborhood playing like kick the can or touch football in the street. You
Uh-huh.
know, it's like a car would come, car came on. You know, that it was that vibe. It's like, man, we're a bunch, literally, I felt as adults, we are a bunch of kids playing in the
Mhm.
street. It was that vibe. It was so awesome.
That's what it's about. It's just really bringing the joy back into what we do on a day-to-day basis, and just knowing that we're all human. Whether you participate or you watch from the sidelines, it's still all is welcome. There was definitely a diverse group, but in especially today's age where there's so much diversity, and so much divide and everything that's going on, it just gives a moment of just humanity, where we all can care and love for one another and have fun, be playful, be creative, show up, support other people, and give our zone of genius away of here's how we can help you, to outcare the competition and what we know works, and also still have some play in our life and connection with other humans, that it's not that scary.
Who is Social Media Week Lima for? Like, here's who my audience is primarily. There's a lot of people who are content creators from the podcasting and YouTube space, and I tend to attract mostly those who have professional pursuits, the solopreneurs, full-time
Mhm.
self-employed business owners, coaches, consultants, that kind of crowd. Is Social Media Week Lima for them?
It is. Yeah, we definitely have a split. I would say the best people it's for is the people that have the heart to care, where they
Mm.
truly want to show up for not only their team, but also their clientele and their community. That's really who it's for. But we definitely do have a split where it's about 40% small, medium-sized business owners. And then we have the content creators, solopreneurs, people that are digital marketers that are creating, and then about 10% that are on the bigger level where they're working at a massive scale for larger companies that they're either sponsoring or they're, just attending just to see what is going to help them stay ahead of the curve. Because we've been talking about stuff since, like, for example, I kind of sometimes feel like Social Media Week Lima is like The Simpsons because we predict things. But in 2014, we were talking about the future of business in 2020. And little did we know what 2020 was going to bring us, right? But we were talking about that. We've had themes like Meraki, how to, live life like, with your full soul, heart, and passion, and to put in to everything that you do while you stand out, because you don't want to be amongst a sea of samesies. This next year is going to be all about unleashed. So, how do you unleash the best parts of yourself that are going to attract people to you and get them sticky to you, like a magnet, where they're going to stick with you for the long term and not choose another brand that maybe says that they do the same things that you do? Because we are firm believers that it's not what you do, but it's how you do it that's going to make you stand out and make people sticky to you. So, to answer your question more succinctly, it's really for those people that get it, that are really about how can we care more and show up more intentionally, not just phoning it in with AI. Yes, you can use AI to help you with some ideas, but you need to have that heart and soul into what you do.
Yeah, I love that. And you're speaking my language and the language of my community for sure. We're in this first and foremost to show up and be of service. And we're not
Hmm.
looking to automate away our service to other things. Not that there's anything wrong with automation. As you said, there's plenty of usefulness for all of these tools and things, but one thing that we don't want to replace is our ability to directly be of service to those that we serve. So, yeah, I love that. And the other thing I want to just say, if anybody is listening to our conversation, I would want them to go to Social Media Week Lima website and reserve a ticket for 2026. And when you do, I highly encourage you to get the VIP ticket. And I'm not just saying that so that Jessica makes more money. I'm saying that because you want to attend the VIP party. It's absolutely essential for the networking. That there's so much that happens there at that VIP party. It is absolutely worth the extra investment. And also, this is something that I don't know if it's on your website or not, but I'm certainly going to tell anybody who's tuning in, make a point to stay at the hotel that the conference is in, or that is the official conference. And I would encourage you to spend a lot of time in the
In the lobby.
evenings in the lobby. That
Yeah.
is the happening place. It is absolutely awesome. So I just wanted to give those tips.
Yeah, of course. And the tickets we've made affordable. We're
Oh,
not
yeah.
making any money off of this. We honestly use it for the transportation, and we provide breakfast, lunch, dinner for the VIPs and the speakers, and then snacks throughout the day. And then have a ton of just heart-centered people that really want to show up and serve, that are volunteers at the event, and also the speakers. But yes, the link is Social Lima, not to be confused with Lima, but spelled the same, sociallima.com, where you can see those ticket sales there. And yeah, Cliff is right. The VIP party is so much fun because you have a mix of karaoke, axe throwing, food, arcade game playing, and it just gives you permission to be a kid while networking. And then afterwards, we head back in a bus right down the road and then have the now traditional Lime Olympics that you can take witness to
I love
and
that.
participate.
Sweet. So, Jessica, I would love to ask a little bit about what do you do professionally? Who's your exact ideal customer, and in what ways do you serve them?
Yeah, so my zone of genius is what I like to say relationship marketing. So helping people start from the inside out as a brand. Because sometimes we get so busy with focusing on what do we need to do that we don't backtrack and see where that foundational level needs to start. So, do we have a brand manifesto? Do we have our ideal client list that we want to connect with? Do we have the core team that's really going to build a company culture of the people that are, facing our clients day to day? Have we built that out? Have we done the fundamentals first before we even start marketing ourselves? So I love to focus in on that with clients, and I work with clients everywhere from manufacturing to healthcare to small, medium-sized companies. But it's really the heart that I think attracts. It's just that alignment of brands that really want to love more, give more, be more that I work with. I do have like a persona list, but essentially it can span across, like I said, manufacturing to small mom pop shop
Wonderful.
companies.
And if somebody is out there and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to work with Jessica," how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So you can go to nowmarketinggroup.com or relationshipmarketingjessica.com. And my name is spelled a little different, Jessica with a K. But you can go to any of those channels, see a little bit more of what we're about, some case studies, some videos on how we do what we do, and learn also more about Social Media Week Live.
I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up our conversation here today?
Just that I'm super thankful for you, Cliff. I know I've been following you for a long time as well, and just love how you show up. So I'm sure you've attracted a community of the same type of tribe. So would love to connect with that community as well and learn more from them. And yeah, I just appreciate your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, I am super delighted to bring this conversation to you and also to bring some awareness to Social Media Week Lima. It is a worthy event of your attention, and I highly encourage you to be there. I will be there again, and probably every year from this point forward. I do not want to miss out on the relationships that have been established over this past year, and people I've known. I've been in the room. I've been in this. We've shared the same rare air, and now to see how those relationships have gone this deep, and just the environment that is possible at Social Media Week Lima, I would say, even especially for those of you who are introverts, this is a place where it's very easy to get involved in those conversations. And also, not to mention the fact, like Jessica said, there's a lot of us are introverts, so we're all a little
Mhm.
awkward in that space of that, and we all know, and it's like, yeah, we're each other's people. So, thank you, Jessica. Many blessings to you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and I will see you again in the new year.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.